The traditional beliefs, customs, and stories of a community are passed down through the generations by word of mouth. We look to places for clues, for the stories that bind people together, places of significance, symbols. During this time, where people cannot come together, will this culture survive, or will these stories and customs be lost? Around the country, seemingly ordinary sites have taken on great significance to the people who live there. They reference the history of the place and the experience of its people. Their significance only grows as people come together and have shared experiences in those places. Far away from the distorted collective imagination of a pastoral England, we look to Newham. This urban environment has its own stories and cultural traditions. The May Bank Holiday weekend has significance across the UK. It marks the coming of summer and plays hosts to a number of celebrations, all with complex and varied histories. Over the May Bank Holiday weekend, we look to see what cultural practices survive. As collectivity has been sidelined, is there still space for celebration? What will we find on Newham streets? What stories still hold sway? What aspects of Newham's culture are still celebrated? Which stories are still relevant? Will we find any costume or dance, curious customs, or celebration of our history and culture? We seek to delve into the collective imagination. This is a site of revolution. This is political unrest. St Mary's Allotment, Plaistow. In 1889, the 1st of May was adopted as International Labour Day. Within May Day celebrations, socialism and romantic utopianism have sat together for a time. These traces of optimism and solidarity remain in the celebration of the Plaistow land grabbers. This group of men, protesting against mass unemployment, occupied some disused ground in Plaistow in July 1906 and started planting vegetables. What will the harvest be, they asked. The authorities took a dim view of their political action, and eventually they were forcibly removed. Land around the allotments is still heavily policed, but once a year people gather here and reenact the Plaistow land grab. Cabbages have taken on great significance as one of the primary vegetables planted on the site. People gather around the perimeter, erecting triangles in reference to the name of the camp, the Triangle Camp. The festivities seem to reference the repeated attempts to recapture the ground. A number of the protesters were repeatedly arrested, and the leader, a local councillor, eventually imprisoned. It's unclear when cabbage munching became such an important part of the festivities. it certainly seems that the advent of social media has given the practice a new lease of life.
Boiling should not be regarded as the only or even the best. For most of us, cabbage is a vegetable for cooking and not for eating raw or pickled. But boiling should not be regarded as the only or even the best way of cooking. There is stir-frying. The recommended method for Chinese cabbage, and a welcome alternative for ordinary varieties. Several cultivars. There is stir-fry. The recommended method for Chinese cabbage, and a welcome alternative for ordinary varieties, comprising several cultivars of brassica, coloracia. Cabbage can be used as a substitute for dynamite to make baked cabbage stuffed with mince meat, as popular in Eastern Europe. And cabbage leaves can be used as a substitute for dynamite to make the root dish dolmades. Cabbage casserole. Those savoys were not into the 16th century. Braised cabbage soup before 1000 BC. Cabbage casserole. Although savoys were not developed until the 16th century. There are so many recipes. By the Middle Ages, cabbage. If you are tired of plain boiled of European cuisine, there are so many recipes to turn to. Fermented. If you are tired of plain roast sauté, they can be pickled or eaten, fermented. They're a great source of vitamin C, sauteing, braised, or eaten. They're a great source of vitamin K, vitamin C, and dietary fiber. How many in a bowl?
One and a bowl. One cabbage in a bowl. And a bowl.
How many in a bowl?
One.
How many in a bowl?
One cabbage in a bowl. And a bowl. One cabbage in a bowl. And a bowl.
The folk tradition weaves together a complex set of influences through arts, culture, and spiritualism. Many of its roots are unknown, but what matters is that these rituals and acts mean something to the people who partake in them.
Me
Despite Newham's only landmark to its greatest artist being a car park, the sites where Madge Gill lived have taken on great significance to her followers, as has the car park. It is said that people gather here once a year to celebrate the life and work of Madge. Her unique style of drawing and art was heavily influenced by her spirit-eyed mirror rest. The followers gather here and draw freely on large calico planners, referencing one of the mediums of Madge's work. Mirror rest speaks to me. Also those who gather say, following the gathering in the car park, the attendees are said to take their drawings and banners and parade them through the streets of Newham, visiting Madge's former addresses as homage to Madge.
Blank expressions, blank expressions, blank expressions, blank expressions, blank match, blank match, blank match, press match, sank match, sub match, leap match, snipe match, press match, plan match.
These cultural practices have meaning. They're passed down from generation to generation, through the oral tradition, through the act of doing. The repetition of these acts ascribes new meaning, but they're rooted in the past and the stories we tell.
It would be the start of summer. I remember it always seemed to be a warm day. I went before. I did. Sometimes showers, but that was it. That was the beginning of summer. We welcomed it. It's like we were calling it on.
Never.
We were banishing disease and death and looking forward to the future. It could be noisy, sometimes a little scary. The adults would wheel around and dance together. And as the night drew in, the shapes they made as they danced became stranger, imitating pipes and tubes of the sewer works. The bells they shook would become louder, and they would start hitting and striking the pipes and the tubes and outlets that pumped the filth away from our houses and towards
the open sea. They drank beer and homemade wine, and they would dance together, different houses all combined. People passing would always stop, thrilled that it was May Day, it was the sewer bank. And they would laugh at the children in their costumes, and they would respectfully shake Charlie Chaplin and Gandhi's hand. They would feign horror at dirty Father Thames, and they would cheer at Bazalgette, our hero Bazalgette. He saved us.
And there's a dream she has.
He's pulled us out of the
This girl.
stink.
But circles, bisected by a line, a straight line, linking place to other place, another place, paths, all parallel lines, overlapping ways. Eels,
We'd end the day,
pipes,
tired,
grown,
but happy,
silent,
sun-warmed.
glass snakes, curling, invisible, between, invisible to each other.
And we would sleep so soundly and dream of the diseases floating away.
Invisible between popular destinations, syrup-soaked breadcrumbs, Silvertown Sunday morning stink, by which she knows that girl, or thinks she knows, or recognises with senses borrowed from someone
Our offerings made
as stranger.
at the cathedral of sewage, the temple of sanitation, covered all over with green and spring flowers growing in that fertile,
Snakes
rich
with legs,
soil.
snakes with nasty little faces, snakes peeping out from under northern outflows, smells with squelching, squeaking voices of their own,
And the pipes
calls,
beneath our houses.
rowing out, docks straight, double lines, double crossed, high water line banked high, a parade and a cortege cross one another, one led by a leathery old man, and the other by a pipe, snake, head, voice that's a smell, chalk symbols follow in entourage. Stink voices, whispers,
The costumes packed
Wandering.
away for another year.
warding marks of white, out of limelight, out of thought, underneath the sediments of the estuary. Evacuate, connect, suffocate, liberate. I went before, I did, you never. What am I looking
My
at?
dad, he would dress as Charlie Chaplin, and there was a man down the road, he would dress as Gandhi, and they would have key parts in the parade. They'd start at either end of the sewer bank and meet in the middle, and there'd be pipes for Bazalgette's snake, and there'd be dirty Father Thames, and all the monster soup. That was us children, dressed up, whirling and squealing, feverish, high on sugared sweets. Just the thrill of being able to run, and the adults all dressed up like they were children too. And when my father and his neighbour, Charlie and Gandhi, shook hands, that was it, that was the key for the celebration to really erupt. People would bang pots and pans, things they brought from home, streamers, ribbons, They'd adorn all the posts and parts of the sewer and the piping.
There was this girl.
It looked beautiful to my eyes.
She was new around here. And there was this one procession
I think they still do it today.
in her mind that reminded her of somewhere else.
I don't go back anymore.
Masquerade. 8-foot stilts in beating sun. Someone, something, holding a knife, shoving it in people's faces, masked, unmasked, running round scaring everyone. It was the best day of the year. Before that girl, today, now, meandered a new procession, north and east of home. Lees following the Lee, leading out. Plaster, Poppy, Bromley by Bow.
Cholera.
Plaster.
That was the part I played. And my cousin was diphtheria. We'd be chased along the sewer bank by dirty father Thames. We'd squeal with joy, we'd shriek. There's an old man in our neighbourhood, and he played dirty father Thames. For what seems like all of my childhood. And he won't wash for a month. I think it was just for the festival, but maybe he never washed. He was made for the part. He reeked. And we ran from him. But in a game, it was fun. We enjoyed it. Everyone came out. They lined the sewer bank and they cheered us on in our homemade costumes.
There was a boy who used holes in white flags as target practice to win teddy bears at fun fairs. On Sunday lunchtimes, he watched cowboys on telly.
My mother stitched the design.
One day he woke up, surrounded by 15,000 guns.
The disease and the bacteria.
15,000 pairs of eyes, all trained on him. 15,000 guns in women's arms.
For months. Each year, new embellishments added.
White flag. That's where we used to go.
I always thought we were the best. Cholera, diphtheria,
House, a shed, a palace, no, a temple.
childhood killers, banished,
Inside a white flag.
gone,
Temple of 10 flags.
Basildred, our saviour. We came to worship at his cathedral, thank him for the sanitation.
Once a year, they let us in. We cut the middle, out of the flags.
There were dances. It was a celebration.
We cut them with the compass. We cut the middle out of the jack. And used the bridge for other
I
things.
could have been dead at my age, years before, but we were thriving. We were a community, and we danced feverishly together.
We cut until we were circles.
And every year we'd do the same.
Until we reached all the way back round to where we started.
And when I moved away, I'd come back. I'd look forward to it. I'd come back. I'd look forward to it.